Okay, Philip Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. It's now Tuesday, the 10th of November, 2020. Two topics today are one, Trump TV, and two, we're going to talk about Washington and Lee University and the legacy of Robert E. Lee. First, Andrew Klavan of the Daily Wire has made an interesting observation. He thinks that if Trump officially loses the election, and it looks likely, then what he might consider doing is organizing a company called Trump TV, because Fox has abandoned the conservative political voter. There are 70 million people that voted for Trump, and Fox TV abandoned him. All the others were already, decidedly against the conservative viewpoint. So there's an opportunity to, come in with something like Trump TV, pick up guys like Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and some others, and also move to the internet. One of the things that both Klavan and Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire recommend us, and also Jeremy Bourne of the Daily Wires, cancel your TV subscription. CNN, ABC, CBS, all of those TV channels make money off of your monthly bill, whether you watch them or not. Jeremy Boring says that the average bill is somewhere around $250 a month, and mine's less than 100. I don't have any cable TV. I've got internet only. I've got a Mac Mini sitting next to the TV, and I simply use that as the screen for the Mac Mini, and I watch stuff on the internet. There's less you can get. And if you're a sports fan, you can get a lot of sports on places like Hulu. But consider just drop cable TV and let these legacy media companies that are corrupted left-wing propaganda arms of the Democrat Party wither. That would be a good step to take if you can stand the pain. If you can't stand the pain, then you're going to have to live with the pain of possibly a Democrat-controlled federal government for who knows how long. So I want to talk a little bit about that organization, the Daily Wire, and what they have planned for their new media. So let me pull up a little bit about that right now. Okay, this is their news page. I'm going to enlarge my video over here so you can see me a little bit better up in the upper right. Oh, and by the way, in the upper right, please click on the notification bell, and that way you'll know when I have a new episode coming out. You'll be notified on your screen. Okay, here's the news page for the Daily Wire, but the real meat of the show is right down here. The commentators, come on, where are they? Come on, there they are. No, that's not them. Geez, where are they? There, watch. Here we go. On the far left is Ben Shapiro, and on the far right is Jeremy Boring. Ben Shapiro is a Harvard graduate, early 30s, Orthodox Jew, Harvard Law graduate. Jeremy Boring is a fundamental Christian. I don't know how fundamental, but he's a committed Christian. And he grew up in Texas. He doesn't have a college degree, but he's made a business for himself. Next to Ben Shapiro is Candace Owens, who has, she went to college in the Northeast. She is, she's just now joining the Daily Wire. She previously had her own show, and then she had a show with Dennis Prager. She has an interesting story. I'm quite impressed with the story she tells about her grandfather, because she says that her grandfather taught her to be self-reliant. And that's what got her to reject the notion that blacks had to be on the government dole. Andrew Klavan, he is a Berkeley graduate. He's a novelist. He's a screenwriter. And interesting, he was born into a secular Jewish family in New York, but he was so interested and absorbed with literature in his early years that he would read them, and he would, things like Dickens and Dostoevsky and Tolstoy and others. Christianity was a bedrock for those novels. And he got so intellectually and tied up in it that he eventually became to accept it as his faith and converted to Christianity. Michael Lowe's is the guy next to him, 30-year-old Yale graduate, Roman Catholic. And Matt Walsh, I don't know much about him. His time slot does not fit with me very well. And then backstage behind everything is Jeremy Boring. This organization, until recently, within the last month, was headquartered in Hollywood, Los Angeles, and now they're moving to Nashville. They have apparently some big plans for 2021. They want, I get the impression they want to have some scripted shows, and they want to have investigative reporting. All of these political commentators lean right, and they don't make any pretense about trying to have you believe that they're middle of the road or that they lean left. They lean right, and they don't disguise it. But they've often, every one of these people here has criticized Trump, every one of them. And so they're not just monolithic in their viewpoints. It'll be interesting to see what the Daily Wire does, and it'll be interesting to see whether Trump TV becomes a reality. I think there's a lot of potential there. We really are on the threshold of new media. New media is a term that's been thrown around for 20 years, but I think we're on the threshold of it. Just like coronavirus made Zoom take off, there was the parent company of Zoom, not in the legal sense of parent company, but the place where all of the Zoom people came from, or the key people at Zoom came from, was WebEx, which was merged into Cisco somewhere around 2005. All that was waiting, WebEx was doing well on its own, but when this coronavirus thing hit, it changed everything. I think somebody said the market value of Zoom now is more than Exxon. I don't know if that's true, but it's astonishing. So let me move on to the other thing that I want to talk about. All of these people support traditional values. And I think that, this is something that Trump can get behind. And, at his age, he's got his son that can step in, his son-in-law can step in. They would fit right in. After maybe 4 years, Trump steps back and turns it over to the second generation. There could be some wonderful opportunities for Trump. As some of these guys have said, don't get too upset with the election because, God is in charge. Behind the scene, God is in charge. And if that's true, maybe Trump comes along and he loses the election and there's an opportunity for him to start Trump TV. God is in charge. Kind of like in Tale of Two Cities, right? A man sacrifices his life so that the lady he loves can keep her husband. And you think, oh, what a bummer. But it turns out God is in charge, because when he is going to when he's in a room with other French nobles and people that serve the nobles that are going to lose their head on the guillotine, there's a frightened girl. She was just a hairdresser. She must have been 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. God needed somebody in there to hold her hand, and that's what he did. So, I'm not particularly religious, but, I can see how Klavan gets into this through the literature. So let me just leave that and go on to the Washington and Lee situation. There is a group of alumni, a significant group of alumni that want to keep the Lee name in the school, and they're called the General Redoubt. They have that's their group name. They have their own website, and here we are at their website. You can come here and you'll find friends of General Lee. If you want to keep that name in the Lee school, you can do it here. I think one of the best cases for keeping Lee in that now, there's two strong cases for keeping Lee in that name. One is when Lee took over at Washington College after the end of the Civil War, it was virtually bankrupt. Another Confederate soldier, colonel, I think it was, took over at William and Mary, and it was bankrupt. William and Mary was the second oldest college in the country, but within, I think, 4 or 5 years, it failed. But Washington College grew, and it became financially sound, and its educational standards were high. Lee made that happen, and one way he made that happen was when an incoming student asked him, said, "General, would you please show me where I can find a list of rules in Washington College?" And Lee responded, We have only one rule at Washington College, and that is that every student must be a gentleman. And what came out of that was an honor code system that is administered by the students, not by the faculty or the administration. Earlier, they had an honor code managed by the faculty and administration. Lee said, no, this honor code is going to be administered by the students themselves. And it had such a reputation that I've heard this from alumni. You could go into a class for the final exam. The teacher could pass out the blue books as long as you, and then he could leave. He could leave. As long as the student wrote in the blue book when he collected them at the end of the exam, and he wrote his honor code pledge and signed his name, or now her as well. The professor didn't need to worry about any cheating. That's remarkable. That is a Lee legacy, and that's something that should be kept. Now, there's a journalism professor at the school who wrote a diatribe about Lee, almost demanding that he be removed from the school. And it was published by The Nation magazine. It is such a character assassination that if there is any truth to an afterlife, and you go up there and you see St. Peter, she may not get in on the basis of her character assassination of somebody who could not respond because he was dead. Her character assassination there's only one word to describe it: wicked. Well, you'll find here at the general's readout people responding to that. I clicked on the wrong tab. Did I? Yeah, I did. There it is. Here is a response to her wicked article, defending President Lee and debunking recent criticism. See, the gentleman doesn't mention her by name. This is a place to find some friends if you want to keep Lee in the name of the school, or if you just want to learn some people that want to respect Lee. So let me just stop the sharing now. As you can see, my new room. Somebody was one audience member told me, "Hey, Phil, I like your videos, but the room you have is just really, really bad." So I got this new room, and really what it is, it's a virtual room which I put on my computer. So that is not my room. You can see the sun's not moving. So okay, for Civil War Chat, I'm Philip Lee, and until next time, which may be tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days. Use that notification bell to be notified when my next show comes up. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching.